Hello, everyone. I am so glad you joined me. You are in for a treat. This will be an amazing inspirational interview with my friend, Amy Bolding. Amy, I'm so glad you're here because her and I were together on Saturday. She had hosted me for her podcast live, and beautiful energy that we had. But first of all, I want to just introduce Amy, and then Amy, you and I are just going to have a conversation here.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So Amy, she is a true people's person. There's no doubt, just being in her presence for just a little bit of time, you will figure this out. Okay. She's a certified Les Brown Power of Voice speaker. Actually, her and I met through our wonderful mentor, legendary Les Brown. We've learned so much. It's been so transformational for me. Yes. Amy, I know it probably has for you, but that's been our connection, and it's been wonderful. She is the author of a Tony Robbins endorsed collaboration book, founder of the Pickled Heart, life enthusiast, and a true ambassador of love. Oh my gosh, it oozes out of her. She trademarked the slogan. I love it, Amy. You show up every time saying, I can, I will, I'm worth it. Oh, that's so beautiful. So I'll let you share more. And well, let me just share her life mission is to spread love, hope, and courage all over the world. You're my kind of gal. One person at a time with her books, programs, boot camps, live speaking engagements, podcasts, and more. And her passion for her purpose came from her own life story. She believes there's something beautiful in everyone, and some just need a little help finding it. So she specializes in helping people to have personal breakthroughs, and which turns and leads them into living a fuller and more peaceful life. Wow. Wow. I feel like you're a soul sister.
Yes, I agree. Judy.
So tell us about you and yes, what is it that's motivated you to get to this point? I know from my journey, I hadn't always been to this point.
Right.
And there's a story along the way. Can you share a little bit about your story? Because there's a lot of professional executive women. There's a lot of clients that may be watching this, and they see the outside, they see the, but they don't know the backstory. So why don't you share with us, Amy?
Thank you, Judy. And I will say, absolutely. I actually had somebody mention one time on my Facebook, because I have a large following, and not all people do I know personally. Sometimes I just, they follow for the material. And this individual said, I don't know about all that. This is all happy all the time, hogwash, and, all this stuff. And I said, thank you for bringing that up, because I will tell you that I came by the decision to be happy in an honest way. It was something I had to earn and learn. And I will say that I'll just give you the condensed version. So it was a 4-pound baby born to a drug using mother. She dies when I'm 6. I go in and out of foster care. The first time I had been molested, I was 9. And I was in and out of different child cares, different homes. I was never formally, fully adopted. I was in between families, in between houses. From there, I guess, between the physical abuse, I was beat by a lady severely. She just, and I will say, just to kind of jump in on that, I did later meet her in life by choice, because I wanted to speak with her, and I wanted to, I guess, know her, as an adult.
I want to hold a little bit of what you're sharing so far. This is pretty traumatic as a child, and your childhood growing up, Amy. So I know there's a lot of people that are in very dark places. They may be hearing this. And for the first time, they're hearing, oh, she went through that. I went through that too. So first of all, there are a couple things. We want to hold this as sacred. Your story is sacred, but there's so many people that they think that because this is my past, because this is a way, then they can't see that there's a life beyond this. But here you are sharing this so openly, so powerfully, giving us hope and power. I think that's amazing. But I just kind of wanted to hold that a little bit, because there's a lot to your story.
It was a lot, and there's a lot of stuff. I was exposed very young when I was in unfortunately by one of my own uncles he's no longer here on earth, but he had a very bad drug problem. So I was exposed very, very early to what drug addiction looks like from a child's point of view, and how he would, steal and we go home, wouldn't have a TV or microwave, or how he would beat my brother to go get him drug money, or how drug dealers would come to our house. So there was a lot there. I was a runaway kid. I felt like if my grandma was my only safe place, she was the only thing that I knew is safe. So
Wow.
If I wasn't there, I was running away. In school, I wasn't a student. I would go in there trying to understand survival theory. Where am I going to run away to when I get out of school? There's times I've slept in parks, under cars. Eventually, things kind of slowed down, and I left home fully and completely at 17. And since 17, I've been on my own.
Wow. And I also want to hold this, because your story, what it does, it reminds me of even some of my own experiences as a counselor. I can only take a year of it. I was doing crisis counseling for an organization called Youth Villages. It's here locally. And it was it was almost like a different world that I wasn't exposed to. Like, I did go into foster homes, hospitals, and it was for children under the age of 17, and they might be in state custody, or they might even be in regular homes, right? That there's some, and then also discovering what their level of care needs to be. But it really broke my heart. And see, even this part of your story really, like, it touches me in a deep place, because so many adults, like, we label kids such as we're going through, they're just troubled kids, or they're just this, or they're just that. Well, there's a reason. And this is one of my messages. There was not anything wrong with you, Amy. You were trying to function in a very crazy system, right? And so anyway, I just kind of want to give grace to those maybe who are foster parents and who are going through lots of trials, but there's a story underneath it. And if you know the story, it makes so much sense. And then go ahead. I kind of wanted to, didn't want to interrupt too much, but I wanted
No, that's okay.
Spaces here.
And through adult life, and the session's so short compared to the depths. Throughout life, I kept the little girl that there was very close, meaning that I was still feeling like the world was my opponent. I wasn't embracing life. I was surviving through life. I always had a great job. I ended up having failed marriage, single mother, 3 boys, no parents. So here I was, raising these kids the best I knew how. I got hit a couple times by 18-wheeler. I mean, I'm supposed to be here. It's pretty evident that I'm supposed to be here. So my kids are now grown. There was a situation which I just now started speaking about, where my children and I were victims of assault by the police, coming out of a gym together. My son, I don't know if he's really recovered. I have some permanent damages. I don't want to go too much in depth other than to say I lost everything after that incident, because anytime you get in trouble with the law, regardless if you're supposed to be innocent till proven guilty, but it's on your record. So me being a nurse of 10 years in the healthcare field, you don't get to help people if there's something on there that looks aggressive. And at that time, it looked like I had resisted arrest, which was far from the truth. And it was all recorded. So I don't want to get into that as much as that was the turning point, because I was in the trash can looking for recycling as a professional, somebody who did well with kids, had them in nice homes, had nice cars, had, kudos from different city organizations. And here I am living in the slums because I couldn't afford where I was living, going in the trash can to provide for my next meal or to provide for gas, car getting repoed. I looked at myself and said, is this it? Did I survive all that to be here? To get right here? And I really, at that point, I had contemplated suicide one other time in my life, but this was the second and last time. I had said, well, my boys are grown. They'll benefit from my life insurance. Maybe I'll just quit right here, because what happened to me, maybe I could have seen it in my rough teenage years, but as a grown woman being a service to the community and this and that, what had happened, you wouldn't think it unless it had happened to you. And it really makes you question life altogether. from an authority you're supposed to trust. It really had a really hard blow. It really did. And so I made a decision while I was in a recycling line, Judy. I said, you know what? I'm going to change it. I'm going to change my story. I'm going to start life from scratch. I'm going to go deal with the hard stuff. I'm going to go look at the areas in my life that need healing. And I'm going to do this. Wow. Now, mind you, I didn't know how, but I did. That is a whole nother long process. I don't want to go too far, but so that's when the pivotal moment happened, was when I was in that recycling line and you could smell the urine, you could smell the alcohol. Like, it's not the greatest when you're in a poor city, in an area that's downtrodden. It's really not the most well-kept place. I mean, you smell the recycling center. So, and I said, this is not it. This is not it.
Amy, like, I'm amazed, because there are so many of us that have gone through some really dark times. And it's amazing, because you had this, you go through your childhood, you survived your childhood. Right. That's amazing. Survived it enough to have born 3 remarkable human beings, right? Do that. Like, that is so amazing. And then later in your life to feel such, or experience such darkness. And I know about what that's like. Like, you go through this darkness in a certain time of your life, you think, oh, the worst is over. Now I'm here. And but it was a turning point. And here's the thing, and this is what we've learned from our beloved, or been reminded of by our beloved Les Brown. Life is going to happen. Life's going to happen. This is an invitation for growth and for living. Here's something that I caught about your message when I was going through some of your messaging, on your Facebook page, Amy, was you had a remarkable acronym. I believe it was for FEAR, FEAR. Can you share that? Like, to me, that just really spoke to me.
I feel really bad because I'm trying to remember. I have one for fail, but I can't.
Oh, maybe that's it. That's it. Fail. Fail. FAIL.
So fail. Yes, fail is finding another intentional lesson. And that's what it is.
That is find another intentional lesson. Wow. Yeah. Wow. So that is amazing. So how did you get from that point, aha point, this is not going to happen anymore, or whatever changes? That was a huge turning point. Then what was your journey after that?
So after that, and I shared when I actually spoke on the Les Brown stage about how I played Les Brown throughout my halls. Like, he was so loud on speaker that, like, even my kids know his voice. I mean, that's just how serious I was with me and Les Brown in the morning. So I intentionally played him loud. I listened to nothing other than empowering things. I did not watch news, which I had no cable, so that didn't really work, even if I wanted to, but I didn't watch no news. I watched YouTube videos. I downloaded so many audiobooks. They played out loud, Wayne Dyer, Les Brown, Louise Hay, just all these people that they have a story. And they teach you that it's okay that you have one too, no matter how grim it is, that there's, you're the lotus. It's okay. You're going to rise to the top. And so I did that. I walked. I started walking, not for health, not for physical health, but for mental health. I walked and I started doing mindful walking. I started not just paying attention to how far I was walking. After a while, it became, what next beautiful thing can I see? There's the flower, there's the tree, there's the sound of the birds. Oh, look at that cloud formation. Before I knew it, I was going 4 miles, Wow. And then so I started feeling better. Weight started coming off just because I wasn't trying to lose weight, but with healthy mindset comes this healthy downpour. So from there, I started imagining. I didn't live where I physically lived anymore. I would get up looking around and say, I'm not in these apartment complexes where you hear shootings at night or where you hear this. I am in this beautiful upstairs lofted bedroom with French doors and stairs that go down to a koi fish pond to my meditation center. I started really living in a world I chose. I wanted to recreate my story in a real way. I started meditating. Didn't know the first thing about meditation. I was like, okay, so all right, yeah. And just realizing that, whoa, it takes willpower to even take 2 minutes to just be, because you don't realize how busybody your mind is and your subconscious and everything else. So I started meditating, walking, eating better. I let go of foods that didn't serve me. I really want this type of food or this fried food or this, whatever. I said, no, if I want to help here, I need to help here too. I did eventually become vegan. So I really I started journaling in a real way. And then my most important element, Judy, I went inside my grown self to go rescue my little self.
Oh,
And this is something that I do with my clients. We go inside and I tell them, when you do this, when you write these letters, I call it the T model. When you write this thing, I was literally in my sunglasses, my fuzzy robe, because I was in a safe place for me, something that felt good.
wow.
And I bawled and I wrote these letters to these people and I let it go and I burned them. And with each thing that I let go of from the little me, the big me got a chance to breathe. The big me got a chance to surface, the true me, the one that wasn't so timid or rigid or angry or any of those things, but the new me. And so love has been my mission. Yeah.
Like a couple observations. I didn't hear that you had a therapist in your life during all this time, right? You didn't have a therapist?
I didn't.
That's amazing. Number one. Number two, it's so amazing that you heard from these influencers that you mentioned, and you put them in your ear day in and day out. There is such power in the word. There's such power in a message. There's such power in one's story. And here you are. And so like, that just kind of blows my mind, right? Because there's something within you. Here's this human resilience, this God-given human resilience. So really, I tell my clients too, that there's two things that changes the brain. And one of them is trauma, right? And certainly we've all been, and obviously yours has been to a very severe degree, but you chose to change your brain. And maybe you didn't realize this: repetition. That's the second thing that changes these neural pathways in one's brain. That's the only way to change it, actually. Repetition. And so here you were doing this also, and your body was taking it in through the walking. And then in the nutrition, like, I'm just like totally blown away with your resilience and hear the trauma that you've been through, what you had to do to survive your childhood. Then as an adult healed on this healing journey, these are some beautiful traits about you, Amy.
Thank you.
They're beautiful traits about you. And that's what a lot of people don't really realize. They think that they have to be defined by their past, but no, even the skills that you used to survive your past are some skills that can be going into a direction of life, and beauty, which you have so bundled up in your life, right? Oh, it's just beautiful. I love to hear this.
And I'll say this about the no therapy thing. What was so interesting is that as I began to learn, because like I tell people, you don't get to the checkered flag and then you stop with self-growth. That's not how it works. You keep going. Life is a journey. So a lot of people, they go for like, oh, okay, I got the house, I got the car, I got the person, I got the job, I got the this, and then they think they're supposed to be happy. And that's so far from the truth, because your journeying has to keep going. Otherwise you experience this wall, and the wall feels like you've been there before, and it's because you're not going forward. So what I found was reading books along the way, because I read probably a couple books a month. I am an avid reader. And let me tell you, let me make this clear. I did not like reading before this change. So a lot of people, I just don't like reading. Yeah, well, I didn't either, but it was a commitment to self. And so as I keep reading, I realize now that, but my point was, as I was reading some of these books, I read about different ways to break through with trauma. And this, because I learned, because being that I help people, I want to be as well learned and as, updated. And I thought, wow, I did these things, not even realizing they were a therapy. Like I was actually doing something, but I didn't know that. And so I say to people, like, if you can, yes, find somebody to walk you through it. But here's a part I didn't tell you, Judy. When I was in one of my homes, they took me to a child psychologist. And this is where, again, every system that was built to protect me broke. Okay, so I went to this child therapist and they said, no matter what you tell me, I won't tell them. No, you just draw the picture, and I had to draw this picture. And then I explained the picture to her, and she said, thank you. Okay, go ahead and get out of the room. I'm going to talk with them now. So she brings the man and the woman in. This was the woman that literally beat me severely, where I still have scars. She, when we got home, she beat me again. She never beat me in front of the guy. She always beat me when he was gone. So here I was with a therapist, and I'm not, please don't let me put a bad mark on therapists, but I'm saying, she was supposed to keep my secret safe. So I learned at a very young age that, it's you and you. And it's sad because you shouldn't have to feel that way as a young person, as a child. You should feel safety in your upbringing. But if you can get somebody like Judy, if you can get somebody who can help, do it. Because maybe I went the long way and got, shortcut on something that could have helped me sooner or more. But I will tell you that I still do therapy with myself. I still walk the walk with me. And Judy, that's why your book has been so, when I read it, I said, oh, wow, Judy. Yes. And so, you talk about the dances of shame and the dances, and that was a big one for me, because I had issues, especially after being sexually abused. I had issues with me and my body, and having kids young, I had stretch marks, and I thought, oh gosh, so then there was this love issue with me, and the dance of silence. How many times I have shut down because something has brought on something that I felt was fearful, or somewhere I didn't belong. As an adult, there were times I still would go into my room like a little girl, and I had to figure all this out, that Amy, it's okay. This is something you've been conditioned because of circumstance. This isn't you no more. Come on out and play, girl. There's nothing to be afraid of. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So this is amazing, Amy. So to me, hearing even this part of your story, and I really consider this a divine invitation, because I can see how therapy or therapists would be just an automatic distrust. Of course it would.
Right.
There's this power that therapists and adults hold over children, right? We need to honor them, and there needs to be some reform in our mental health system. And actually I spoke yesterday to a corporation, and I said, you know what, and I've got some videos on it too. What you've been told about mental health is simply not true. There's it's like not true. I'm not going to bash individual therapists.
Right.
System, right? And this is, it's unbelievable that you were so violated.
Yeah.
And Callie, I want to tell you, I am so sorry that my profession did that. But I know there's evil and good in the world, right? And
yes.
there are a lot of good therapists, and in the system, there's a lot of good policemen, there's a lot of good people, right?
Yeah. Oh yes.
When you've been so traumatized as a child, and your brain being developed, and it's not even totally online into your mid-20s, you're trying to make sense of life.
Right.
And you don't really have trustworthy adults in your life to help you make sense of life. And that's your story is absolutely amazing. I cannot wait till you write your memoir.
Yes, that's coming hopefully soon.
Yeah.
So November, I hope one book of mine will be out. We'll talk about the other one in a second, but the one in November is more or less, it's like flipping the coin. It's like something I give, like an example of something that happened to me, how it was seen and how I see it now. So, but the autobiography is taking time because I've got to like age 20 something, but there's a lot that happened in my life to where I'm like, whoa, that was a lot. And I want to piggyback what you said, Judy. There are good people in the world. And my experience, a lot of people say, well, how can you still be so hopeful and happy and in love with the world when there's these people out here? Because there's love there. Even though there might be something blocking them, I always say there's something going on with people we don't know about. So it's not always our business to figure it out. It's just our business to go on. So my business is to go on, and I pray for better systems because everybody has their own story. And so I just pray for them and send them love and light, like honestly.
Yeah.
And then, so the other book is the one, it's called Cracking the Rich Code. And it's endorsed by Tony Robbins with Jim Britt and Kevin Harrington of Shark Tank. And it was really an honor to be asked to be a part of this project. So basically what it is it's all stories of entrepreneurs or business owners who, whatever they've done to create, mine is more on mindset, my experience, because before I became entrepreneur, I guess you can say, or personal business owner, I did work in the business industry for close to 20 years. And 10 of those years was in healthcare. So I ran large organizations, opened up franchises. So I had a lot of really good stuff to say. So you'll get something from my chapter, even if you're not an entrepreneur or if you're not whatever, there is some key things in there. I will set the links up and do all that stuff. So 2 of them. So I have 2 things coming out this year. And so I'm excited about that.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I want to give a shout out to a common friend we have, Clint Powell. Hey, Clint.
Yes.
Yeah, he connected us too. I've been on several of his programs. And when I saw you, Amy, that you were going to be on this program, I said, how did you get to know Amy? And then I think you might have grown up around that you're great at Chattanooga area. I don't know, but it's like, or you may have been different places, but I thought, yes, that's Amy. How did you know her? So
yeah, that's great. Clint is became one of my favorite people. I love being on with him because he's an amazing person. In fact, speaking of Clint, I have him Friday. I get to interview the interviewer.
Well, you know what? I saw that and I thought, you know what? I need to interview him too. We need to interview this guy.
Yeah. He has some good stuff. And we're going to be talking about like things you do, kind of wrong when you start a business. And so I listened to one of his podcasts. If you guys don't listen to during the break, you really should, because there's some fun stuff on there. Talks about business woes. And so I think it's important. My programs are really built to help people, inform people, to, send them hope, love, and courage. That's just what I do.
I love it because you have had a remarkable journey. And there's so many aspects of things that we can learn. It's not just relationships. It's how to do a business, how to do finances, how to be resilient. All of this is packaged. I love it how you are doing this, Amy. So I want to tell those of you that are watching right now, if this material and this resonates with you, please like and share it. Give us some feedback. I have a hard time looking at when people are on at this time. So I know, Amy, you do that really much better than I do, but we would like to know if this resonates. And then the links are in the description on how to get in touch with Amy. She's on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok too. That's amazing. And then you're famous. I'd love to hear it from your words. I just love it how you say it.
I always tell people, make sure you tell yourself at least 2 times a day. I can, I will, and I'm so worth it. Yes, you are. Real quick.
How you say that. I'm so worth it. I love that part of it. And also you always start with, you can laugh with me, laugh at me. I don't care.
As long as you're laughing, I like both. Yeah.
And you know what? We need to not take ourselves so serious, right, Amy? We need to have fun. We need to smile in the morning. We need to wake up and thank God that we have this beautiful day to live.
Yes.
Because really, it is through the darkness of your life that frames the beauty, because life is, Glennon Doyle Melton says it's beautiful. Like it's both beautiful and beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It makes you sound like you got a speech impediment. But anyway, I like that concept because, we don't have this, we've been, ingrained as little girls that we live happily ever after. We find our Prince Charming. That's so not true. Like that is such a lie.
Right.
But anyway, you are an amazing woman, Amy. You represent so much. And I know that my clients listening to this is going to really touch their hearts and give them hope. And I so appreciate what you're doing. You keep up the remarkable work you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Judy. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.